Let's take a look at the case report, number 671. Middle-aged Caucasian male patient was seen at my office for a severe toothache on upper right quadrant. Here is the radiograph of the area. Patient agrees that he was unable to keep up with his regular oral health care and maintenance, but finally in a stage where he has time and resources to address it. Maxillary right first bicuspid, which will be referred as tooth number 4 here, was identified as the source of his acute clinical signs and symptoms after our multi-tooth testing. Additional cone beam imaging with periapical findings suggestive of bone loss around the apical area of number 4. Here is the quick snapshot of our diagnosis page showing intraoral and extraoral findings. This is my summary page of the case. We discussed all treatment options including extraction due to the extent of subgingival caries. Patient opted to continue with endodontic therapy. After initial cleanup, tooth was temporarily isolated to contain the endodontic irrigants and facilitate advanced irrigation protocol using Fotona laser for activation. After endodontic disinfection, the canals were sealed with cavet prior to final caries control. Caries appeared to extend into the furcation and mesial furcal invagination. At this point, after further discussing the prognosis, patient opted to continue with the extraction. Tooth was extracted carefully. Crown was sectioned and root tips were saved in the 10% formalin. Here are the clinical photographs and radiographic imaging of the extracted root tip. Finally, tooth was carefully split, dehydrated, and mounted to facilitate the SEM analysis.
This is my SEM analysis of Pushpak's case 671. I'm going to make several inferences here. I'm going to infer that this canal was completely necrotic and that there were bacteria present in the canal. When we sectioned the tooth, we couldn't get a very good section because it's such a very broad root. And we really only got one side that was fairly decent. And on the other side, the buccal side, the sectioning disc had to go into the canal. So we're going to restrict the analysis to just where the sectioning disc, where we don't have to worry about contamination from the sectioning disc in the canal. So we're going to look at a lingual stitched canal that's free of any sectioning debris. And when you go into the MIE site and you look at the various powers of the stitched image, you get a fairly good sense of what the Fotona device actually can do. The canals, remember, were instrumented out to a 2006 V-taper, I believe. So the canals are relatively clean, and we can't really tell at these powers whether there's any bacteria present. And there's quite a bit of predentin debris. What I'm interpreting as predentin debris. Some kind of moderate demineralization happening where there was instrumentation. In other areas like that, where the instrument didn't touch, you have open dentinal tubules. But it has kind of a classic laser kind of look to it in that it looks like a hurricane or a volcano has gone off. And with a distribution of demineralization and layers of predentin still present in other areas where there's open dentinal tubules. So in looking at the higher power, of course, we're looking for bacterial morphotypes and also the extent of the demineralization of the mineralized layer. And here I cannot detect any bacterial morphotypes. There may be bacterial morphotypes there, but they've been so altered by the irrigation device that you can't really make that call. When you go in at a higher power, and let's say this one area near that's more coronal to where the Fotona was, and take a look at the dentinal tubules and at a power that would be easy to distinguish microorganisms, I really don't see any recognizable microorganisms here. It looks like most of the peritubular dentin has been removed, and you're into the collagen of the intertubular dentin. But this far, no real organisms were detected in the areas that we looked. So that's the case. Thank Pushpak for sending it over. It would be nice to have some more Fotona cases to really examine it.